Hi, this video is going to help you get started with your Connect XL. First thing you want to do when you receive it is you want to make sure that you've tightened these with an 8mm wrench, and so that these are horizontal. And then you could load your spools on there, and notice that the filament is coming out in this direction. Now, when you receive the printer, if you've ever got to take these out, it makes it easier to get it to feed through here. You want to make sure, let's see if I can hold this up here. You want to make sure that you push down and then push down on the collar and pull out. If for some reason it doesn't come out like this, you can loosen the push to connect fitting, remove the filament all the way out, and just kind of give it a wiggle like this, and it'll come out. What you don't want to do is make sure that you don't push down too far, because it'll make it very difficult to remove that. You can put this back in. And feed it through. Just like that. The first thing we've got to do is check. We calibrate these before sending them out, but in shipping they may become a little bit uncalibrated. So what we need to do, let me back the camera up a little bit, is we need to make sure that the nozzles are at the same height, and also that the clearance at all four corners is about a thickness of a standard sheet of paper. And you'll notice that I've already preheated using the LCD screen so that if there's any dried filament, it won't impede our calibration. So to calibrate, we're going to use the LCD screen, and we're going to go to the More menu and then click on Home. Now this one's already been calibrated, and yours will be too, but as I mentioned before, during shipping things could move a little bit, so we just need to check and maybe make some fine adjustments. Now once it's homed, I can slide this over manually and bring the bed back a little bit. We want to be somewhere about there at each corner. And if you can't slip the paper in there, you can actually lift the axis up and move it. Now you can see that this one has been calibrated, and the paper can move back and forth with a little bit of resistance. And we do this at each of the corners. That one feels a little bit tighter, so I'm just going to tighten this screw up a little bit, and that'll bring the bed further away. Now when you push down on the bed, you'll notice that it's flexing the bed, so when you turn the screw, you want to make sure that you're just kind of turning it rather than pushing down. That one may be a little loose. That feels about right. So that's how you calibrate the Z-axis offset. Now, if you begin printing and you notice that one of the nozzles is hitting the part that's being printed, it means it's probably too low. There's two screws on the side of each of the nozzles, which is a 2.5mm and a 1.5mm Allen wrench, and you can visually see it from the front here. You can see which one is going to be higher or lower. So if one is too low, what you can do is, I always pick this one on the right side. Just loosen this up, and basically you push up so that the glass is on both of the nozzles, and push that down, and they'll naturally want to be at the same level, because the glass is they're both going to be touching the glass. And then while you're holding it, just retighten it. You got to remember, you've got to do this while it's hot, so that the filament doesn't impede this calibration, and be careful not to put your fingers where the nozzles are. So now I'm going to do a test print, and first time you load the filament, you want to make sure that everything is, primed and loaded correctly. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to raise, using the LCD screen, I'm going to raise this up. I've already preheated, and this is PLA, so I'm going to be at 190 degrees. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to push on the extruder arm here, back here at the drive, and I'm just going to push filament through by hand until I see filament coming out of the nozzle, just like that. And then I'm going to use a paper towel, use some tweezers to wipe that off. So now that you've got this one primed, if you have the second spool loaded, you want to just manually by hand take that out so that the tip is somewhere around here so that it won't drip all over the part. If you're doing dual color, you'll want to do the priming on both of them. So then I'll go to the LCD screen, and I've got a file here of a food clip, which is single color, and I just click print, and you'll notice that once all the temperatures are reached, it'll start printing that part. Now, another thing you want to do every now and then is you want to take and spray some of this Aqua Net Extra Super Hold, which will help to bond that first layer. Notice that first layer is being printed slower so that it bonds correctly to the bed. And this is the most important layer. If you're not getting adhesion, it means that your calibration for the Z-axis, the bed is too far away from it. If it looks like it's just being mushed in there and maybe not coming out, it's that the bed is actually too high, and the separation between the nozzle and the bed is just too tight, and you'll have to go through and recalibrate those.